Let's start, Rabbi. The moment is here.
Yes. So Shabbat Shalom, everyone.
Shabbat Shalom.
So before we get started, just a few logistical announcements as people are walking in, which will take us to 6:30. The first is hopefully everyone's grabbed a prayer book on their way in. If you need anything, Deb Alper, a member of our board, one of our vice presidents, is here. She's our usher, and she'll greet you. If you need large print prayer books, they're available on your right. Hearing assisted devices are in the office right on the right as you walk in. If you need bathrooms, they're outside to the right, though all gender and handicap accessible bathrooms are through the office toward the back. If for some reason today you need an emergency exit, of course there's the exit you came in, but notice there's an exit here as well as a series of exits in the back. We are live streaming our service tonight. We will also be recording that service live on YouTube. And so we're going to ask that if you're here and you're excited for one of our confirmands, that you still leave your phone in your pocket. Don't worry, we're recording for posterity, and that way you can go and you can watch them later. And finally, I know that we have got a number of guests here, people who may not have been at our synagogue before or to a service. If you are one of those people, don't be shy about turning to the person near you and asking where we are on the page or in the prayer book. We can always direct you, and the goal is for us to all be on the same page, both literally and figuratively. So with that, we're going to move to page 24, Shalom Aleichem.
Shalom Aleichem.
Malachei Asharet, Malachei Elyon, Melech Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Asharet, Malachei Elyon, Melech Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Asharet, Malachei Elyon, Melech Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu.
So we're going to put our hands together. Shalom
Aleichem, Malachei Asharet, Malachei Elyon, Melech Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu.
Boachem לשלום, boachem לשלום, מלאכי השלום, מלאכי עליון, המלך מלכי המלכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא, ברכוני
לשלום, מלכי השלום, מלאכי עליון, ממלך מלאכי המלכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא. צאתכם לשלום, צאתכם לשלום, מלאכי השלום, מלאכי עליון. Join with us.
המלך מלכי המלכים, הקדוש ברוך. שלום עליכם, שלום עליכם, מלאכי השרת, מלאכי עליון, המלך מלכי המלכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא.
So once again, Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
So tonight is a joyous night for a number of reasons. Of course, we're going to welcome 21 confirmands to the Bima as they are going to become our teachers for tonight. And also we're going to welcome Gabby and her family in a second, who are going to light our candles and lead us in Kiddush in honor of her becoming Bat Mitzvah tomorrow. But I want to say just a word about our confirmands. So over the course of tonight, and I'll address them later as well, we're going to hear 21 speeches. Each of those speeches in some way answers the kind of broader question that they've been studying over the course of the year, which is, why does Judaism matter to you? What is the purpose for them of this 3,000-year-old tradition that's been bequeathed to them, and what does it mean for them to be carrying it forward? What are the institutions, the people, the places that allow them to forge that Jewish identity? And each in their own way is going to answer that really profound and fundamental question. Now, over the course of the year, they've been studying a version of that question from numerous different angles. In 10th grade, all students come together and they study with me, and we treat the class a little bit like an Intro to Judaism class for adults. And we have the kinds of upper-level conversations about God, about anti-Semitism, about Israel, about Jewish history, about prayer, about Jewish practice, about what it means to be in a Reform synagogue and what those other movements are that one would have at a college level or at an Intro to Judaism in a place with people who are in their 20s or 30s. And as always, every year, and especially in this class, they rose to the occasion. And so you're going to hear them reflect with great care and intellect on the many different lessons that they learned this year and the many different lessons that they've learned through the culmination of their 10 plus years here in the congregation, some more who started even as young preschoolers here under our Shorish program. And so with that, we're going to turn to an earlier life cycle event, that of becoming bat mitzvah, as we invite Gabby and her family up to light our candles and lead us in Kiddush.
As these Shabbat candles give light to all who behold them, so may we, by our lives, give light to all who behold us. As their brightness reminds us of the generations of Israel who have kindled light, so may we, in our own day, be among those who kindle light.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher v'kidishanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat.
O source of light and truth, creator of the eternal law of goodness, help us to find knowledge by which to live. Lead us to take the words we shall speak into our hearts and our lives. Bless all who enter the sanctuary in need, all who bring the offering of the hearts. May our worship lead us to acts of kindness, peace, and love.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kidishanu b'mitzvotav, v'ratzavanu, v'shabbat kodsho, be'ava uvratzon, yinhilanu, zichara lema'anse, v'rehi. Kihuyon tehila lemikra kodesh zeher litziat mitzrayim kivanu vaharta ve'otanu kidashta mikol ha'amim v'shabbat kodshecha be'ahava uvratzon hinchaltanu. Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh haShabbat.
Amen. L'chaim. Yishar kochech. Well done.
Congratulations.
From Pesach to Shavuot, we actually count our days. We count the Omer. We count them in the evening. So tomorrow will be the day for it. And there you go. Matt's on top of it tonight. L'shem yichud kudsha brichu ushchinater hineni mulchanu mezuman lekayem mitzvat aser shel sfirat haomer shel sfirat haomer shel sfirat haomer shel sfirat haomer Sheva Shabbatot Timimotiyena Sheva Shabbatot Timimotiyena Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu al sfirat haomer al sfirat haomer al sfirat haomer al sfirat haomer Hayom chamisha ve'esrim yom shehem shlosha shavuot ve'arba'a yamim la'omer. Today is 25 days, which is 3 weeks and 4 days for counting the Omer.
We will continue with Kabbalat Shabbat, singing Lecha Dodi on page 20, welcoming the Shabbat bride as she enters into our midst.
I know what Malachi wants.
Lecha Dodi likrat kala, yalalai, 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 Pnei Shabbat, nekabelai, yidai. Let's hear you. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, yalalai, 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 Pnei Shabbat, nekabelai. Shamor, shamor, v'zachor, dibur echad, ish v'yanu el hamiuchad, Adonai echad, u'shmo echad, l'shemu tiferet, ולחילה לך דודי לירק קלה, יאללה יאללה יאללה, פני שבת נקבלה, לך דודי לירק קלה, יאללה יאללה, פני שבת נקבלה, לקראת שבת לכו ונלכה, כי בקורב הברכה, מראש וקדם משוכה, סוף מעשה במחשבה תחילה. נשאיר לך דודי לקראת קלה, יננה יננה יננה, פני שבת נקבלה, לך דודי לקראת קלה, יננה יננה יננה, פני שבת נקבלה. Verse 5, התעוררי, התעוררי, כי באורך ומי אורי, שיר דברי, שיר דברי, כבוד אדוני עלייך, נגלה לך דודי, לך דודי לירק קלה, יאללה יאללה, פני שבת נקבלה, לך דודי לירק קלה, יאללה פני שבת
as we face east, I mean toward the door.
בואי ושלום, עטרת בעלה, גם בשמחה ובצהלה. תוך אמונה ים סגולה. בואי חלה, בואי חלה. לך דודי רק עליי, יררי, יללי, יללי, בני שבת. נקבל לי, לך דודי רק עליי, יררי, יללי, יללי, בני שבת. בני שבת. נקבל.
You may be seated. I am delighted to invite our first group of confirmands to come to the bima: Ezra, Ellie, Vivian, Madeline, and Emma.
Thank you. Shabbat Shalom. This place has always been important to me. My family moved here when I was 2, and I really couldn't care less about what temple we would be affiliated. I was busy, walking, applesauce, baby things. But as I grew up, this temple has become such an important place to me to ground myself in my tradition. But Judaism is more than a tradition to me. I went to school here. I taught here. I became a Jewish adult here. And as I learned here, I realized something. You don't need to believe in a Jewish God for this religion to have meaning to you. The moral codes inside of the Torah and beyond lay out a path through life that betters the world and the people around us. In my everyday life, I try to do justice with tzedakah, repair the world with tikkun olam. And the great thing about these is that they have no prerequisite. You can just choose to be a good person, and Judaism gives a beautiful framework for it. As I move beyond this temple, find my own way through life, I will always carry the things I've learned here with me. And when I look around me, I see that my peers will do the same. My name is Ezra Feddersen, and I take my place in this Jewish community.
Shabbat Shalom. Yeah. Throughout my life, I have always associated myself with being Jewish. I take pride in the fact that I practice my religion. However, that has not always been the case, and through the past couple of months, I have realized why being Jewish is so important to me and my identity. I realized that it is important to me, coming from an interfaith family, that going to Hebrew school every week is something that I value. Interacting with and learning from my teachers and peers that share similar situations and stories to me is very meaningful and something that I can only really find here at Temple. This idea of instantly relating to people because of a shared religion made me feel so at home when in Hebrew school. Then, going to Amsterdam, where we learned about what it means for other people in other countries to be Jewish, and feeling just as comfortable in those very unfamiliar places. When I think about my Jewish identity throughout my life, I'm proud of the way that it has morphed into a relationship that I love and respect for myself. I would not have been able to do that without Hebrew school, especially this year in particular. The in-depth discussions about Judaism that were sparked in class not only gave us a space to voice our opinions, but also to listen to others with completely different ones, completely free of judgment. All of this made me realize that I value my religion's teachings, morals, and lessons, but most of all, I value the relationship and communities that it brings me. People and places that I never feel alienated or out of place in, rather a place that no matter how long it has been or what's going on in the world, I will always be welcome. My name is Ellie Hudon, and today I affirm my place amongst the Jewish people.
As we get ready, just a decorum thing. Send love with your hearts, but we don't necessarily apply.
To prepare for today, And as a part of our class this year, one of the questions the rabbi asked us to consider was, why are you Jewish? The short answer is, I was born Jewish and raised by my family as a Jew. So I guess the real question is, why am I still Jewish? Why am I here today affirming my commitment to Judaism, and why will I continue to be a Jew? There are many reasons. One is the community, the connection I feel to others simply because we are Jewish, and because of that, we share something. I'm connected to my classmates here at Temple Ner Tamid, but they are people I know. More than that, I feel connected to others that I might not know. Other Jews care about me, and I care about them. They are a part of my community. The Jewish people have a rich history of support and community. I have witnessed this firsthand, and it has been especially important to me recently as I have traveled in the past months. I have had the opportunity to visit synagogues in different places, and they all tell different stories. In Amsterdam, I visited the Portuguese synagogue. This synagogue has existed since 1675 and remains a community today. During the Holocaust, almost the entire congregation perished. 3,700 of 4,300 Portuguese Jews were killed. Even under these awful circumstances, on May 9, 1945, just 4 days after the liberation of the Netherlands, services resumed. This shows the strength of the Jewish community. Through the worst times, we have stuck together. Another reason why I am Jewish is the values it provides me. Judaism teaches me to work for what is right, stand up against anti-Semitism, and act with compassion for others. I want to do better and help support my Jewish community. Even though we have faced adversity throughout history, the Jewish people have survived and grown stronger. This is because of the power of our community. When I celebrate Jewish holidays and attend services, and now having the opportunity to explore Judaism through traveling, I feel connected, and I feel comfort knowing that I am a part of something larger than myself. My name is Vivian Koklis, and today I affirm my place among the Jewish people.
Persecution of Jewish people in Russia caused many to flee the country. Bagel maker Jacob Frager was one of them. He left Russia on foot, eventually reaching Paris. Upon seeing the Boulevard de la Madeleine, he decided if he ever had a daughter, he would name her Madeline. When he settled in Boston, he did marry and have a daughter. He named her Madeline. She was my great-grandmother. Even when he enjoyed freedom in the United States, Frager felt it was necessary to hide his Judaism. More than 120 years later, I am proudly embracing his Judaism every day, thanks to the meaningful Jewish values and the significant community I have found here at Ner Tamid. Jacob's story is similar to another one told in our family. When I was a little kid, my grandmother, who was Jacob's granddaughter, and I were walking by some shops in Montclair one December. I asked why there were so many Christmas decorations and no Hanukkah decorations. She explained that most people in our society were Christians. Apparently, I said, but everyone in Montclair is Jewish. My Jewish community is what made that seem true. It has provided me with a welcoming community that is unique to anything else I have encountered thus far. It makes me feel assured in who I am no matter what may be happening at school, other extracurriculars, or the outside world. To me, Judaism provides a safe haven where I can seek guidance through the principles such as love your neighbor as yourself, tikkun olam, and giving tzedakah. Not only do I practice these values within my Jewish community, but I have grown to share them with the rest of my world. As I continue learning about Judaism, I'm feeling even prouder to be Jewish at a time when many people outside and inside the wider community feel ashamed, scared, or conflicted about their Jewish identity. As a rabbi in Washington, D.C. says, the question mark is a holy symbol for the Jewish people. He means that by not being afraid to ask hard questions, we can discover things about the world that need attention and try to fix them. This foundation in Judaism has also made me realize the importance of bringing this attitude to all people of all faiths, beliefs, and backgrounds. This spirit within Reformed Judaism is something I hope never goes away. It has impacted my life so much that I don't know what I would do without it. If Jacob Frager were here, I hope he would be proud of how his family has become a Jewish family both culturally and religiously. My name is Madeline Roston, and on this day, I affirm my place among the Jewish people.
I am Jewish. Often I contemplate my Judaism and why I continue to be Jewish. The short answer to that question is I'm still trying to figure it out. If I had to come up with one answer to that question, I would say I'm Jewish because it's who I am. I was born Jewish and have been raised as such. However, I started to really involve myself in Judaism when I joined Temple Ner Tamid in 3rd grade. I am so appreciative that my parents made me go to Hebrew school, even though I was not always especially excited to attend. After 7 years, I realized how grateful I am for this opportunity. In 3rd grade, if I was asked, why be Jewish? My response would be, because I was born Jewish. As I have grown and been able to more understand my Jewish identity, my answer has changed. Judaism has given me so many things. Judaism has given me a community of people to connect to, along with a closer bond to my family and ancestors. Joining this temple was nerve-wracking from my younger self because I started off not knowing many people. However, as time passed and I have developed into the person I am today, I've become so thankful that my 3rd grade self attended classes and become part of this community, because I have met so many amazing people along the way and my life has changed for the better. Another reason I am Jewish is because of Judaism's core values, one of them being tzedakah, giving to charity and being righteous. Tzedakah is a big part of Judaism and its values. Temple Ner Tamid has given me many opportunities to do tzedakah. At Hebrew school on Sundays, tzedakah boxes are passed around the table of classrooms. I remember this from when I was younger and being so excited to know that I was giving money to people in places in need. Now, I watch my kindergartner students do the same thing every Sunday, excited just as I was to fill the tzedakah box. This is what I love about Judaism. You don't have to be a certain age to make an impact in your community. As I have gotten older, our temple has given me many opportunities to interact and work with others in need, like collecting canned goods at ShopRite or helping out at places like Mesh. Volunteering in these ways reinforces and strengthens my Jewish identity and fulfills my desire to make an impact on my community. My name is Emma, and today I affirm my place among the Jewish people.
We'll continue back in our Siddur on page 28, and I invite everyone who is able to rise for Baruch.
Join us. Together, Baruch Adonai HaMevorach Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach Le'olam 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 Va'ed. You may be seated.
Page 32.
Ahavat Olam. Ahavat Olam Beit Israel Amecha Ahavta Torah u'mitzvot Chukim u'mishpatim Otanu limadta Al ken Adonai בשוכבנו ובקומנו נשיח בחוקיך ונשמח בדברי תורתך ובמצוותיך לעולם ועד. יומם ולילה, יומם ולילה. ועבדך אל תסיר ממנו לעולמים, ברוך אתה אדוני, אוהב עמו ישראל. שמע ישראל, אדוני אלוהינו, אדוני אחד.
Page 36.
ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך. והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אדוני אלוהיכם אמת, אמת.
We continue by welcoming Lily, Reese, Noah, Olivia, and Ben to the Bima for their speeches.
Up until February 20th, my grandma's funeral, I came to temple and sat in services because I felt that it was the right thing to do for the community. Although I was bat mitzvahed at the age of 13, at that time, I didn't fully understand how to connect myself with Judaism. I never felt a genuine spiritual connection with my religion until I lost my grandmother, or as I knew her, Mima. My Mima held her connection to her Judaism near and dear to her heart, which I never truly knew until I had the chance to sit and hear all of the amazing stories that people had to tell about her. She always wanted to do the right thing for everyone around her and even went on to have a second bat mitzvah when she was an adult. Ever since February 20th, my perspective changed, and I now see Judaism from a whole new lens. I understand what it's like to feel for my community and be there for others in need, just as they did for my family and I. To be Jewish is to automatically be part of a community filled with compassion. Being involved with a congregation who shares the same values and practices the same prayers is my central idea of Judaism. You don't need to know someone who's in the same Friday night service as you or who's sitting beside you during the high holy days to know that you have something in common and that you can truly connect with them through your religion. To be born into Judaism has been the best gift, and I'm so lucky to have a grandmother who has kept our family so close to it. So, if someone came up to me and asked what the most important idea of Judaism was, I would tell them that it is the immediate community and connection you can create with others. If I had never come here, I wouldn't understand all of the important values and teachings that come along with life, and for that, I'm eternally grateful. My name is Lily Marcus, and on this day, I affirm my place among the Jewish people.
Everyone here had a 0.2% chance of being Jewish. We make up less than 0.5% of the world's population, and yet we somehow always find a way to rock the boat. Our religion has withstood the test of time for over 2,000 years. I find it amazing that such a small group has managed to thrive and not only survive for that long. We are vastly outnumbered by the two major religions of Christianity and Islam, both of which make up over 55% of the global population. We often take it for granted that we are a steadfast people. Some even call us stubborn. But do we ever stop and think why we are this way?
Our people have survived terrible tragedies, ranging from the Holocaust to the Inquisition, from the destruction of the temples to pogroms in Europe, and from Egypt to what we face today. What unifies us in these dark times? Which ideas do we hold closest to our hearts? What keeps us Jewish? For many, being born Jewish is enough. I was born Jewish, and it is a large part of why I'm Jewish today. But as I look at the world around me, I find myself needing more reasons. My confirmation class has taught me a lot about the values of Judaism. Tzedakah and Tikkun Olam have always been the two pillars of Judaism for me, on which we could build something better. Judaism to me is about legacy and history, a tradition that has survived everything thrown at it long before my time, and it will survive everything thrown at it long after my time. Tikkun Olam, repairing the world, the idea that it is up to us to work now for building a better tomorrow. Tzedakah, justice, and a sense of doing what is right, is essential ideas like these that keep me Jewish. I've held these ideas close to me for a long time before I seriously considered my Judaism. These fundamental personal truths of mine perfectly intertwine with those of the Jewish religion. But those are just two things I value the most. I encourage every Jew to find their personal truth in Judaism. It might be the whole Torah, or it could just be one line. And that is where strength and unity come from, the sense that every Jew has a basic understanding of one another. We feel an inherent kinship with each other that we cannot fully describe. With all these amazing attributes in mind, I've come to my final stance on Judaism. It is an amazing collaboration of tradition, progress, compassion, and history. So if someone were to ask me, why are you Jewish? I would reply, why not? My name is Reese McGowan, and today I fully entered the Jewish experience.
When I think about Judaism, many words come to my mind. Hebrew school, family, holidays, Jewish food, tikkun olam, mitzvahs, and music. But if a non-Jewish person were to ask me what the most important idea of Judaism is to me, I'd say community. Community is defined as a feeling of fellowship with others, as a result of sharing common attitudes, interests, and goals. Everyone needs a place where they can be seen, accepted, and heard. I would tell them about all the ways in which my Jewish experience has provided me with a supportive and loving community. Judaism has a long history of a strong community, and many of our traditions and practices reflect this. For example, my family's Passover Seder this year went from 11 to 23 people because of our Jewish community. I also have a strong Jewish community over the summer. Since I was 8 years old, I have attended Pine Forest Camp, which is a Jewish sleepaway camp. When I started, I knew no one, but I knew that I had things in common with them, like being Jewish and knowing the same songs and prayers. This made me feel connected, and I felt like I had belonged there from the very beginning, and over the years, I have made so many special friendships from camp and from our shared experiences. During the school year, I connect with my Jewish community through the youth organization BBYO. BBYO has given me the opportunity to not only meet many great people, but also develop programs and activities and have a leadership role in the local chapter. BBYO provides a community in which teenagers can grow and bond while sharing Jewish values. Being a part of this fun and welcoming group is really important to me. Another example of community, and perhaps the most special, is Temple Near Tamid. Every Wednesday and Sunday, I walk into this building, I feel comfortable and welcome and at home. So many of us started religious school here in kindergarten, and we have learned about our history and culture and had the challenge of learning Hebrew together and became bar and bat mitzvahs together and traveled to Amsterdam together. Growing up, I always enjoyed Near Tamid services, especially the music. And now as a song leader at Sunday school, I get to be a part of the service and experience the joy of everyone singing Jewish songs together. I feel lucky that I get to help the younger kids find their community at TNT. Being Jewish is amazing for so many reasons, but being a part of a group that is so welcoming and non-judgmental is really meaningful to me. The feeling of community extends beyond the walls of our synagogue and beyond the borders of my camp. I believe that the value of community is shared with Jewish people all around the world. Maybe that's why there's sometimes an automatic connection when you meet another Jew. I'm lucky to be a part of the Jewish community. My name is Noah Freund, and this day I affirm my place among Jewish people.
Growing up, whether it was a Wednesday going to Hebrew school, chanting prayers out of the Torah when becoming a bat mitzvah, giving tzedakah, or even going to services for the high holy days, these are all aspects of my life that are routine, and I honestly did not put much thought behind. However, as I have gotten older, I have started to question why I am doing these things. Why do I engage in these rituals? Is it simply because I enjoy them, or do I feel a genuine connection to God and my faith? Maybe it's purely because my family is Jewish, and adhering to these traditions is simply what is expected. All of these questions tie together with the main idea of why am I Jewish? This is honestly a really difficult concept to think about and find an answer to. I believe there are thousands of answers, and not one answer is the correct one. In contemplating the question of why am I Jewish for myself, I've come to realize that there are numerous answers, each intertwined with my own experiences and beliefs. However, the two themes that stand out to me the most are community and tzedakah. No matter where I am, if Judaism is brought up, my mind goes straight to the heart of my Jewish community, temple near to me. For me, being Jewish is creating memories and bonds with my Hebrew class and community, whether that's going on trips or having discussions on the meaning of life in class with Rabbi Katz. Being able to share a common belief in something gives me a sense of comfort that I've never found anywhere else. The Jewish community also embodies family, from having a Passover Seder with my grandparents to going to the High Holy Day services with my parents and sister. These aspects hold a great meaning of belonging in my life. Along with the community, I feel as though the morals that Judaism upholds align with what I believe in. In regards to tzedakah, which is the sacred obligation of philanthropy and charity, it has also played a significant role in the shaping of my understanding of Judaism. It's more than just giving money to those in need. It's about making a meaningful difference in the lives of others. As I continue on my journey as a Jewish adult, I will carry the values of tzedakah with me no matter where I go. In the end, even though I may not have a clear and simple answer of why I am Jewish, I find peace with knowing that it is not merely the rituals or services themselves that define my Jewish identity, but rather the deep connections, values, and sense of belonging that Judaism brings to me. My name is Olivia Gilbertson, and today I affirm my place in the Jewish community.
Shabbat Shalom. When I think back to early in the year of Hebrew school, the question that Rabbi Katz asked all of us still sticks with me today. That question being, why are you Jewish? And of course, the first thing that popped into my head is, well, I'm Jewish because my parents are. Well, essentially that is true. There are so many other factors that reaffirm my identity. Reaffirm my identity as a Jewish person. While these reasons stem from community or personal connection, they're all equal factors into me being Jewish. Being raised in a household with two Jewish parents, let's be honest, did I really have a choice? The answer to that is yes. While I didn't like waking up early for Sunday mornings at the temple, I chose to go back week after week because I enjoyed seeing my friends and learning about Judaism. And now I continue to go to Hebrew school week after week, just like I did as a kid. I have also made friends from other towns through BBYO, which is also a great example of how many people you can have in a certain community. I have so many people in my life and community that resemble what it means to be Jewish that those people reflect what they do onto me. It's an amazing thing about society that the people that surround you can subconsciously shape and change your decisions for you with proper judgment. These people being the clergy at our temple to the people being confirmed with me today. When our grade took a trip to Amsterdam this year, and even DC a year earlier, it showed me that all these people have similar ideas and mindsets about this religion. These mindsets being about if God is real or how we should hold certain values about this religion. And things of these sorts, It were these people that showed me that I'm Jewish because of the people that surround me in my life. My name is Ben Berlin, and today I affirm my place among the Jewish people. Thank you.
What are you feeding him?
These kids are incredible. Every week on Sunday mornings, before we sing Mi Chamocha in our service, I walk around with a microphone and I ask the kids, the first and second graders, the kindergartners, if they can tell us a moment of wow, something wow that happened to them. And this is the prayer that we lead up to. That's really the Jewish people's moment of wow. And for me, this community is a whole moment of wow, but these kids, so many of whom are madrichim, who are teaching helpers and song leaders in our community, so many of whom come week after week, come to all of our teen programs, our trips, all of that, they are our wow. And I really think that tonight when we sing Michamocha, which is really a song of freedom and a song of deliverance, we really can appreciate what it is that freedom is, that these kids can stand up here to affirm their Judaism, and how lucky we are to be in a community where we're allowed to have different senses of what it means to be Jewish without anyone telling us what that has to mean for ourselves, but yet it's still a shared value. And to me, that's an incredible moment of wow, and I thank them for sharing that with us today and really every week as I see them and their incredible sense of self and leadership here in Temple Ner Tamid.
We're going to just be a wave back and forth. Michamocha. Sorry, that. Michamocha.
Michamocha.
Bailim Adonai.
Bailim Adonai.
Michamocha.
Michamocha.
Nedar b'kodesh.
Kodesh.
Nora.
Nora.
Tailot.
Tailot.
Oh, say.
Oh, say.
Fele. Malechutecha. ובגאלו מיד חזק ממנו, ברוך אתה אדוני גאל ישראל.
Amen. We continue with Hashkivenu on page 42 and on the screen.
השכיבנו אדוני אלוהינו לשלום והעמידנו שומרנו לחיים. השכיבנו אדוני אלוהינו לשלום והעמידנו שומרנו לחיים. ושמור צאתנו ובואנו לחיים ושלום מעתה ועד עולם. Sometimes I lay under the moon and I thank God I'm breathing, and I pray don't take me soon, 'cause I am here for a reason. Sometimes in my tears I drown, but I never let it get me down. So when negativity surrounds, I know someday it'll all turn around, because all my life I've been waiting for, praying, I've been praying for
מעתה ועד עולם. ברוך אתה אדוני הפורק סוכת שלום עלינו ועל כל עמו ישראל ועל ירושלים.
Amen. We'll now invite up Sylvia, Rebecca, Tyler, Samantha, Alexa, and Sophie.
Shabbat Shalom. My parents tell me that at 4 years old, I launched a barrage of questions at them, demanding to know, who are we? What do we believe? And where do we belong? I must have caught wind of kids attending church and celebrating various holidays. I wanted to know where my family belonged in such a compelling and mysterious part of everyday life. The answer was not simple, as my mother grew up Catholic and my father Jewish, yet neither were very observant at the time. Luckily, we lived around the corner from Cantor Meredith, who we became friendly with at the Nishrain Elementary School bus stop. She invited us to a Taught Shabbat service, and after attending, we realized that we had found a place that welcomed and even celebrated our family as it was. Though I wasn't aware of it back then, from the time I was 4, the Jewish concept of kahila, the necessity of community, has been a motivating force in why I chose to be a Jew. As I've become more knowledgeable about Judaism, I've also had the privilege of finding a congregation where I feel comfortable and confident in my Jewish identity. While grappling with my stances on various Jewish beliefs and customs, one thing has always been a constant: my love and value of the community I am so fortunate to be a part of. I've been lucky to grow up at Ner Tamid, and having my bat mitzvah, traveling to places rich in Jewish culture, continuing to be involved in the religious school, and analyzing the Torah and Jewish law in confirmation class this year have all reinforced and strengthened my relationship with Judaism. In my 12 years at our synagogue, I have expanded my viewpoints, gained an emotional and intellectual connection to Judaism, and found a permanent home in Judaism. After years of study, I realized that the concept that has grounded me in Judaism, kihila, the way that people around me comfort, guide, challenge, and inspire me, is the basis on which I initiated my Judaism years ago, and is why I chose and continue to choose to be a Jew. My name is Sylvia London, and this day I affirm my place among the Jewish people.
I apologize, I'm just getting over something. Shabbat Shalom. I come from an interfaith family. If you don't know what this means, it basically means my father's Jewish, but my mother's Christian. When my parents got pregnant with me, they had to decide which one of these religions they wanted me to grow up in. After some deliberation, they chose to raise me Jewish. I could not be more grateful for that decision. Why am I a Jew has a complicated answer. The literal answer goes back to my parents' decision to raise me Jewish. But as I get older, the amount of answers to this question grows with me. My parents put me in Hebrew school starting in 3rd grade. To be completely honest, I hated it. I thought it was long and boring, and I couldn't wait to do my bat mitzvah so that it could be over. I never imagined myself coming back and doing more at the temple by choice. Then, however, I got an email the summer before 8th grade about being a Sunday madrachim for the younger kids. I remember telling my dad and him saying, "There's no way I could convince you to do that, right?" But I had already decided I wanted to do it. Fast forward 2 years, I teach at temple on Wednesdays, lead music on Sundays, and I'm in Hebrew school myself as well. So why am I Jewish? I'm Jewish for a lot of reasons. For one, the community. The community at this temple brings me immense joy and comfort. I have never once felt out of place, whether in services, in class, or any event the temple hosts. Another reason I am Jewish is because the beliefs and values are similar to my own. One of my favorite Jewish beliefs is loving your neighbor as yourself. The belief in kindness is very important to me, and it is an important part of Judaism as well. Jonathan Sarna believes that a prevalent issue for Judaism in the 21st century is a lack of mission. He explains that today there is no real sense of purpose when it comes to being Jewish survival. I believe that there is always a purpose for Jewish survival, and there always will be. I believe this to be true because Judaism is more than just having a goal or mission. Judaism is also about the comforting feeling you have when you meet someone else who's Jewish. Judaism is also about the values that it has and how to live your life abiding by its beliefs. So I do believe that Judaism today has a mission. Judaism's mission today is to make the world a more peaceful place. My name is Rebecca Shapiro, and today I affirm my place among the Jewish people. Thank you.
Shabbat Shalom. I have not considered the question, why am I a Jew, until recently. Thank you. But I've wondered why others are Jews for as long as I can remember. In the past, I've asked why my father practices Jewish traditions, though he was not born Jewish. And the answer is that he loves me, my family, and my brother and all our family very much. When I was little, I remember asking my mother why Judaism was important to her. And one of the reasons she gave me was that she found support and warmth at temple during difficult times. When my grandfather passed away over 3 years ago, I came to understand what my mother meant by this. My grandfather passed only a few months after my bar mitzvah, which meant so much to him that even though the service took place over Zoom, my grandfather left a strict quarantine to be with me in person. I wondered why this tradition, which I did not understand yet, was so important to him. Since then, I've gotten a little older and more perceptive, and I've observed the positive effects of Judaism and Jewish values on myself and others. Through Tikkun Olam, Jews serve their community and make the world a better place. Jews are secure with themselves, knowing that they and everyone else are created in the image of God. I've watched people in our community be stalwart advocates for justice, drawing on principles from our faith. In my experience, being encouraged to ask questions has driven my faith, loyalty, and curiosity. My faith has given me security and purpose in difficult times, and as my mother told me it would, this community has always been comforting when I needed it. When I ask myself now, why am I a Jew? I realize that it was because of these values, which have been passed down to me from my grandfather and my whole family. I am a Jew because it is wonderful to be treated with these values and a privilege to encourage them in others. My name is Tyler, and on this day, I affirm my place among the Jewish people.
Community is something that has always been a big part in the way that I view Judaism. I joined Shoresh when I was 3, and only 2 months later, I was diagnosed with a birth defect and needed heart surgery. My Shoresh teachers had all the students send me get well cards, which made me want to go back. Though I wasn't supposed to for at least 3 weeks, Arlene, Sherman, and Iris made accommodations so I could come back after just 1 week, which sped up my recovery. There was no aftercare back then at Shoresh, so Arlene took care of me after daycare. I was also a frequent attendee of Cantor Mary's Taught Shabbat, and my parents told me they were non-practicing Jews until I pulled them into the TNT world. Though I do enjoy holidays and traditions of Judaism, it's the people participating that make those moments special for me. My parents were never strict and let me explore Jewish holidays, inviting my non-Jewish friends to celebrate with us until the pandemic. The pandemic was an especially hard time for everyone, but this community helped me through with nightly Zoom calls to join and pray. When I couldn't have my birthday party due to COVID restrictions, my parents lit a candle and everyone on the call sang me happy birthday. These calls were my favorite part of the day, and this is why I got through the pandemic. When I was 12, I wasn't so sure that I wanted to have a bat mitzvah or be proclaimed as a Jewish woman at all. As a 12-year-old, it felt like too much work and little reward, but as time was coming up for me to make my decision, my cousins began having b'nai mitzvah, and I enjoyed being a part of them so much. While being at Temple Ner Tamid, I realized how happy I was to be a part of this community, and I began to realize the true reward of having a bat mitzvah. Eventually, I wanted one too, not just for the party, but to also be considered an adult in this community and to keep Ner Tamid close to my heart. Similarly, before this year, I had doubts of joining my confirmation class. My schedule was busy, and I didn't understand how important it would be to reach my confirmation. That was until Rabbi Katz and I had a talk about it over ice cream at Holston's. He convinced me that the class would be very engaging and it would be fun to go to Amsterdam. If not for the rabbi in this community, I wouldn't be standing here today. My name is Samantha Alper, and this day I affirm my place among the Jewish people.
Why is the idea of Judaism so important to me? I think the most important idea of Judaism to me is community and the people whom you surround yourself with. As a young Jewish woman, I dedicated a lot of my time contemplating my religion. I had the choice to decide if I wanted to continue my religious studies or stop. Well, obviously, I chose the only right answer, which was coming to Hebrew school on Sundays and coming to class on Wednesdays at the temple. My life wouldn't feel the same without being part of Ner Tamid or having a Jewish identity at all. I had made so many connections with people over the years that I couldn't picture my life without. Some of these people are friends that have stuck with me since Shoresh preschool. After late night sleepovers on Saturday nights, I always wake up the next morning and make it to Hebrew school, not because I'm forced, but because I love the atmosphere that I am surrounded by. All my friends from school don't understand why I choose to wake up at 9 a.m. every single Sunday, but I just love seeing the kids so happy when I arrive. Being Jewish is not a forced thing, it's a choice. And I love being a young Jewish woman that is so closely connected to my religion, history, and traditions. I'm so fortunate that I had the opportunity to go to Amsterdam and learn about the heritage of the city. I've always been so intrigued by the Frank family and Anne Frank's life while she was in hiding. After learning more about Anne Frank's story, I saw that Jews were silenced and pushed out of Amsterdam by the Nazis, as were millions of other Jews throughout Europe. The Holocaust was a dark time. What Hitler and the Nazis did should teach us to never hide our religion because many people fought for our existence for a number of years. The most important part of having a Jewish identity is being who you truly are and not being afraid to show off your religion. Nowadays, we are seeing the same hatred toward Jews all over the world, and especially on college campuses. In looking forward to my future on a college campus, I can't help but be fearful of the chaotic environment that may be waiting for me. I was shocked to see the damage on campuses and the intimidation of Jewish students to the point where classes have been suspended and commencement ceremonies canceled for fear of the safety of the students. No one should be afraid to attend classes and be confronted with hate because of their religious affiliations or beliefs in Israel's right to exist. We must not let this hatred prevail and get in the way of higher education and future achievements. We need to be vigilant to ensure that anti-Semitism that resulted in the death and annihilation of the Jewish people doesn't get repeated. During the Holocaust, the world watched silently as Jews were being stripped of freedom after freedom until their lives were taken in the most inhumane and morally reprehensible fashion. My name is Alexa McGalnick, and on this day I affirm the Jewish way of life.
On June 10, 2008, I, Sophie Jacobs, was born in Mount Sinai Hospital in New York City. My mother named me Sophie after my mother's Auschwitz surviving grandmother, who was called Safta. When I was just 2 years old, we made the obligatory move from Brooklyn, New York to Montclair, New Jersey. My parents enrolled me in Shoresh, where I went to preschool, along with many of my peers sitting here today. After completing my preschool education, I began to attend the Sunday sessions of Hebrew school, completing my words of wisdom every weekend and bringing spare change for tzedakah. My mom, a Hebrew school dropout herself, insisted that I was bat mitzvahed once I was of age. A bit ironic, I thought. Why should I have to suffer through Hebrew school if she never had to? When I finally took my place on the bima and claimed my spot as a Jewish adult, it felt like a massive weight had been lifted off my shoulders. The stressful Zoom sessions with Ronnie quickly exited my calendar, and the anticipation of the event I'd been working towards for the better part of a year disappeared. But why throughout the bat mitzvah process, I never stopped questioning why I was doing what I was doing. What did it mean for me to be a Jewish adult? This year I've had a lot of time to reflect on my Jewish career here at Ner Tamid. With the help of my rabbi and my Hebrew school class, I came to the conclusion that there is no singular reason to be Jewish. For me, though, it means carrying on the legacy of my ancestors. Both my grandparents on my mother's side are Holocaust survivors, and it is important for me to honor them in every way I know how. When we visited the Anne Frank Museum in Amsterdam, I was reminded of the hardships they faced as young children. The museum added a layer of empathy for their lives during the war that I had never grasped before. My grandparents on my father's side were Jewish Brooklynites through and through. They were avid fans of Cold Stones and sushi dinners, and although not the most Jewish of traditions, I remember them every time I have an Oreo milkshake or a sushi roll. I hope that by remembering their honorable lives, I can be a better Jew and member of society. My name is Sophie Jacobs, and I affirm my place in the Jewish community.
We rise for the Amidah. We'll turn to page 155. The first blessing of the Amidah speaks about our ancestors, Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, Sarah, Rebecca, Rachel, and Leah. And I just think it's quite amazing to add all of these confirmands to that list of incredible people who become part of this next chain of tradition. So as we say these prayers silently, let's think about maybe some of our own ancestors and dedicate a prayer to the link in the chain that they made for us so that we could be here today.
Adonai sefatai tiftach ufi yagid tehilatecha. Together.
Adonai sefatai tiftach ufi yagid tehilatecha.
invite you to keep letting your prayers flow, whether you're in this room or in the Zoomiverse or the YouTubeverse. And when you're ready, we're going to land together on page 164. And with all our presence, pray for peace. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amecha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amecha Tasim Leolam. Ki atahu melech adon lechol shalom. Ki atahu melech adon lechol shalom. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amecha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amecha Tasim Leolam. V'tov be'einecha levarech et Amecha Yisrael, ve'oleidu echonsha bishlomecha. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amecha tasim leolam. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amecha tasim leolam. Tasim leolam, leolam.
We'll invite our last group to come up. Lucy, Ava, Talia, Mo, and Sophia. Oh, if I was that tall.
Shabbat Shalom. When asked the question, why am I Jewish, I immediately knew the answer. It's because of the lessons I've learned from being Jewish. Judaism has given me a stronger relationship to my family, a community, and a place to be heard. And these are all things that have shaped me into the person I am today. Growing up, I did not feel that Judaism was an important part of my life. Quite honestly, it felt like a burden. I didn't like going to Hebrew school or high holiday services. I often only came to Hebrew school so I could submit my Words of Wisdom worksheet and get that amazing feeling of putting a sticker on the tracker, or because I was forced to. But as I got older, I really started to love Hebrew school. Hebrew school is a place where I can be myself and forget about other obligations. It allows me to think deeply about issues around the world. This year specifically, we have talked about big ideas such as Israel and Palestine, death, and abortion, always hearing everyone's voices and different opinions. Hebrew school has provided a space where discussion and learning is encouraged, and has helped shape my ideas on the world. The discussion and learning that Hebrew school fosters is a part of the reason why I want to be Jewish. Judaism also provides a tremendous sense of community. For example, at every B'nai Mitzvah, the T&T community gives a gift to the B'nai Mitzvah student. The gift is given from a congregant, and oftentimes the student doesn't know the adult who is presenting the gift. Yet, you can always feel how much love the adult congregant has for the kid. This gift symbolizes the community at T&T. T&T is a place where everyone is friendly with each other. As a young member of the community, I feel like I could ask anyone for help or have a conversation with anyone, and they would be happy to help or talk. I relate this sense of kindness and generosity to being Jewish. Additionally, Judaism has helped bring me closer to my family. No matter what holiday it is, we always find a way to come together to celebrate. Even though a lot of my cousins live in Montclair, we're all very busy and don't typically see each other throughout the year, and the holidays are one of the most meaningful ways we spend time together. Judaism creates time for my family to be together and has helped pass down traditions from generation to generation. In current times, being Jewish isn't always easy. Recently, on our confirmation class trip to Amsterdam, we walked by a pro-Palestine rally, and we all felt the need to tuck in our Star of David necklaces. But despite this, and despite the rise of anti-Semitism in the US, I am proud to be Jewish. I am honored to be part of such an amazing community that lifts people up and values learning and discussion, community, and family. Being Jewish has helped me become the person I am and has taught me many valuable lessons. I am Lucy Sarayski, and today I affirm my place among the Jewish people.
For my confirmation essay, the one prompt that immediately stood out to me was, why am I Jewish? I never really thought about this question before this year, and it never really occurred to me to think about. Growing up, I went to services in Hebrew school because my parents wanted me to, not because I chose to or really wanted to go. I definitely complained and protested against attending Wednesday and Sunday classes when I was younger, and I really thought I would be done with Hebrew school after my bar mitzvah. However, I'm so happy that I chose to return because of all the great friendships I have made and maintained. But more importantly, I've enriched my Jewish knowledge. In particularly, this year and this class has taught me so much and has been nothing short of phenomenal. After all those years of attending Hebrew school, I finally could answer the question. I knew I was Jewish because of my ancestors, but what does being Jewish mean to me? The discussions during Wednesday classes and talks with my classmates helped me finally realize why I'm Jewish. I'm Jewish because of this community. My community is welcoming, supportive, and kind, 3 things I will forever be grateful for. I always feel like I belong somewhere. Temple Near Tamid has always been there for my family during good and bad times, and I can count on everyone here to come to my aid if I ever need it. But it's not just New Jersey or even America that is a worldwide community. When we traveled 3,643 miles in Amsterdam this winter, I never felt alone. The Jewish community in Amsterdam welcomed me and my class with open arms as we explored the historic city. When we went to services, when we visited historic synagogues, and when we had our Jewish walking tour, we always felt safe and surrounded by a loving community, even though everyone we met was a complete stranger. During Shabbat services, although I couldn't understand Dutch, I understood what was happening and everything felt familiar. This is something that makes Judaism so special and amazing. I could go halfway across the world and still have a place to belong. To me, being Jewish is not just a religion I was born into, but choosing to be part of this special community. My name is Ava Rosendorf, and I affirm my place among the Jewish community.
For as long as I can remember, I have come to Temple Ner Tamid 2 days a week. When I was younger, getting me to Hebrew school on Sunday mornings was a little bit of a struggle. I was in that stage when I didn't want to admit to voluntarily wanting to do what my parents wanted me to do. But each year, when I was re-enrolled in Hebrew school, I was always secretly relieved and grateful that my parents didn't listen to my narrow-minded requests. Stubborn as I was, I knew that every time I walked into the walls of Ner Tamid, I would without a doubt be greeted by familiar and welcoming people. These people were the people I grew up with, whether they were my best friends or the teachers. Back then, Hebrew school to me was highlighted by the Pormspiel, Glilitz, music class, and baking. Although I still appreciate those things, I have come to put more thought into the question of why am I actually Jewish. The obvious answers would be because my heritage is, or because it is how I've been raised. Over the past few years, however, I have begun to appreciate the values that Judaism has to offer. I value giving back, repairing the world, mitzvahs, and all of the rest of the core principles of Judaism. What I appreciate most is the sense of community that Judaism preaches. I love every aspect of the Jewish community, like how when someone in our community dies, their loved ones will never feel like they don't have a support system backing them up. Or how we can travel overseas to a foreign country, attend a service in another language, and still feel the same connection to the prayers being chanted and the strangers we are chanting them with as we do in New Jersey. I even love the simple moments like coloring with the kindergartners on Sundays or making matzo ball soup with my grandma. Judaism has set me an example of what a safe foundational community looks like and has allowed me to connect with other communities. I'm grateful to say I have grown up included in such a loving, strong, admirable group of people, and I am proud to take my place among them today. My name is Talia Rosenthal, and this day I affirm my place among the Jewish people.
Shabbat Shalom.
Judaism as a whole is a complex religion. Studying it more may seem like a method to narrow down the parameters of the faith and give immediate intel into what makes you a Jew. Instead, the more you learn, the more you begin to realize that no one is confined by specific barriers within Judaism, but rather given a space open to their interpretation and way of thinking. The Jewish label is given to you at birth, but that doesn't give you just one way of seeing yourself, others, and the world around you. That means it is up to oneself to figure out their connection to the religion and what keeps them Jewish. For me, it has become more and more apparent that my Jewish identity is so valuable because it gives me a community to keep with me and always be able to come back to. This all became clear to me as I grew up, especially learning even more this year with Rabbi Katz and my classmates. When you meet someone, you immediately share a connection with the faith. And while it might not seem evident at first, with that shared religious identity, you share a culture only understood by those who grew up with it. My place with Judaism comes with my small but loving and caring community around me. I might be new to this class and group at Ner Tamid, and it wasn't easy to rejoin, but I'm happy to say I feel at home here, and I'm grateful to be welcomed that way. Whether it is during the school year at Temple, being here with my friends on Wednesdays and Sundays, and being with an overlap as well as different people at BBYO on Tuesdays, my weeks are full of spending time with friends in which I share a huge part of my life. And the highlight of all of this is seeing a mix of these people in school, reminiscing about trips we went on together or shared experiences. Then, during the summer, I am surrounded by a different group of Jewish kids and adults at camp, spending time with people whom I share a meaningful connection with. 365 days a year, I get to spend my time with special people who share my values. And how does this all happen? It starts with my Judaism. The depth of my Judaism is rooted in the connection it gives me with others, as it gives me a community and a definitive identity forever. My name is Mo Davis, and today I affirm my place among the Jewish people.
Shabbat Shalom. When the rabbi first asked us why we were Jewish at the beginning of the year, I did not have a solid answer. It was not really something I had thought about before. Throughout this year, I have had the opportunity, through class discussions, Jewish learning, and our trip to Amsterdam, to figure out why I identify as Jewish. And I have realized that the most important identifier for me is the connection that it brings me to others. However, I have not always felt connected with my Jewish heritage. If you had told me when I was younger that I would be standing up here talking to you all at my confirmation today, I would have told you were crazy. Growing up as an interfaith family in New York, I went to an Episcopal school and did not begin Sunday school until 6th grade, when I decided that I wanted to have a bat mitzvah and enrolled in class at Ner Tamid. I think this is one of the best decisions I have ever made. Since then, I've continued with Hebrew school, and my connection to the Jewish community has grown exponentially. It is such a rewarding experience to have a group of people that I feel connected with, and Ner Tamid is just that for me, one of the places in my life where I am supported and am completely free to be myself. This place has become such a home for me, and I feel so grateful to be able to continue to be immersed in Judaism with my class. My family has a long, rich Jewish history full of traditions and stories, and Judaism has been such an important connector for all of us. My great-grandmother, Mimi, was a family member that I was lucky enough to have a relationship with. Some of my favorite childhood memories are going to temple with her on Shabbat and eating at Piccadilly. I am proud to be Jewish because there were points in her life where she couldn't be. Mimi came to America in 1938 from Germany, and I am so honored to be able to carry down her traditions and proudly practice the religion that she sacrificed so much for. I'm proud to have a strong connection with my Jewish identity, and I will strive to further it here in my time at Temple Ner Tamid. My name is Sophie Felsenthal, and today I affirm my commitment to the Jewish community.
I'm just going to say one thing before we move on. This group is like really inspiring, and one of the things that I hear all of you having been inspired by is travel. And I just want to remind you that we have a trip to Prague planned for this group and the incoming 11th and 12th graders. And we hope that that trip to Prague, where we will also explore the Jewish community in Prague and visit Theresienstadt, which is one of the camps that the Nazis had, will be something that you'll participate in, and it will help also to inspire you. And it means you get to travel with me, which I really hope you'll get to do. We're going to turn our thoughts to Israel. Every week we say a prayer since October 7th for peace in Israel, for peace in Palestine, for peace for people in their hearts, for an end to some of the hatred that is all consuming. Eloheinu ve'Elohei avotenu ve'imotenu, our God and God of our ancestors, we ask that you bless the state of Israel and all of Israel's inhabitants. Makor Chaim, source of life, bless and strengthen those who defend the land and ensure their safe and speedy return home. Protect them and guide them. Kadosh Baruch Hu, holy and blessed one, show Israel's leaders your paths so that they may act with wisdom, courage, and dedication, and that they may be unwavering in their pursuit of peace. Strengthen their hearts, but keep their hearts from hardening. Adonai Poked, God who remembers, there are more than 100 people currently being held in Gaza who are thought to be alive, including Oded Lifshitz, age 83, Guy Gilboa Dalal, 22, Evyatar David, 23, Nama Levi, 19, Bipin Joshi, 23, Idan Alexander, 19, Natapang Pinta, 35, Shiri Bibas, 32, Yarden Bibas, 34, and their sons Ariel, 4, and Kfir, who turned 1 in captivity. Matir Asurim, freer of captives, return all those who are kidnapped safe and sound to their homes, without spilling of more innocent blood, without any more souls being tarnished by horrific acts. Ba'al Harachamim, master of compassion, help us hold the humanity and the heartache of the Jewish people, of all the residents of the state of Israel, while also holding the humanity and dignity of the Palestinian people. As we are all made in your image, remind us of your ways. Spread over us a shelter of peace and fulfill the vision of your prophets. They shall beat their swords into plowshares and their spears into pruning hooks. Nation shall not take up sword against nation, and they shall never again know war. Amen.
As we turn to page 253, I'd like you to think about those people that need healing in your lives and people that are not even connected to you, that don't have someone to say a prayer for them. We offer a Mishaberach. Mishaberach Avotenu V'Imotenu, Avraham Yitzchak V'Yaakov, Sarah Rivka Rachel V'Leah, Hu Yivarech et HaCholim. May the one who blessed our ancestors, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, Sarah, Rebecca, Rachel, and Leah, bless and heal those who are ill. May the Blessed Holy One be filled with compassion for their health to be restored and their strength to be revived. May God swiftly send them a complete renewal of body and spirit. And let us say, Amen. Please join me. Misheberach Avotenu Mekor HaBracha Limotenu. May the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Mishe imotenu mekor abraka liavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen.
Shabbat Shalom. So I was thinking about what I was going to say to you as we finished up services, and really, what can I add to the really thoughtful words that you all shared, all 21 of you. And I was thinking the sense that from the time of your B'nai Mitzvah until now, you have not had a normal year. When I think about your B'nai Mitzvah class, you were the COVID year, right? The high holidays that was, for most of you, your B'nai Mitzvah, except for those at the very tail end, was the one high holy days where the cantor and I stood up here in a television studio and you all watched high holy days on the TV. And then you had these COVID restrictions. And when I think of your class, I think of monogrammed masks. I think of 15 to 20 people sitting here with major restrictions. And as the year went on, we began to open up just a little bit more and a little bit more. But at the end of the day, that's how you began your Jewish adulthood. And I would hope that it would have gotten easier, but it really doesn't. I mean, last year, and it seems like ages ago, someone walked up to our congregation and threw a Molotov cocktail at our congregation. And then this year, with the war in Gaza, the shadow of October 7th, and all the complicated feelings that comes up from the aftermath of October 7th, the war that Israel is engaged in, the suffering on both sides, I want to tell you guys that it is easy sometimes. It's just not easy now. And it just hasn't been easy for those 4 years or so. But the fact that you've weathered it, and you've weathered it in community, and you've been here for one another, is really, really profound. And the truth is, if I have any big message for you, besides the fact that if you stick around long enough, you will find a time that is easier than it has been, it's that the kind of discourse that we modeled in class together is a discourse that this world so deeply needs. When you're young, you're taught to think in binaries, right? Science teaches you about vertebrates and invertebrates. Math teaches you about odd numbers and even numbers. At the end of the day, you're taught that it's this or that. And when you're young, you're either an atheist or you're a believer. When you're young, morality is either good or bad, black or white. And one of the things that I've really admired from getting a chance to study with all of you this year is that hopefully you've broken that down. One of the great revolutions of Judaism is, and the challenge of monotheism in general, is the idea that unlike other traditions that were around at the time, think Gnosticism, which had a God of good and a God of bad, Judaism as a monotheistic religion somehow had this umbrella that was God, and everything ended up underneath it. Which meant that of all the religions that were out there at the time when Judaism came about, Judaism was inevitably the messiest, because it was the religion that somehow had to do the most amount of wrestling, had the least amount of binaries, had the most amount of gray, because you fit everything under this one umbrella. And the way that we are going to heal this broken world is by having the kind of discourse that all of us had over the course of the year. It's about acknowledging that the world isn't binaries. Now, the discourse, even on college campuses, is very much that. You're either occupier or occupied. You're colonizer or colonized. You're either good or bad. And I hope that when you get onto those college campuses, you'll be able to add a little bit of flavor, a little bit of nuance. This world needs your thoughtfulness so badly. And from everything that I've seen, both from tonight and from our year of study, and even before that, when I would walk into your classes when you were young and we would have conversations together, from working with you on your B'nai Mitzvah, all of you have the ability to do that kind of wrestling. That movement from the binaries of youth to the nuance of adulthood. Which is why when I thought about what the gift is that you are each going to get, it's a book called Here All Along by Sarah Hurwitz. And I talk about this book for the past few years since we've been giving it, but I really think it's the best book I can be giving you right now. Sarah Hurwitz was the speechwriter, the head speechwriter for Michelle Obama. And she broke up with a boyfriend and decided that she wanted to kind of find herself, and she went to an Intro to Judaism class, and she was kind of like a Hebrew school dropout. She didn't get even as far as you guys did. And she shows up at this class, and she sits down, and she suddenly realizes that Judaism is for grown-ups. Now, what do I mean by that? Not that Judaism is racy and edgy, though there are elements of that. But that rather than those simple binaries, Judaism is nuanced, it's rich, it asks good questions. It really balances out competing values to it. And she says to herself, this is amazing. This is a gift that, quote, has been here all along, and I didn't know it existed. She wakes up in the same way that if you know the story of Jacob and the ladder, he wakes up after dreaming that God is standing atop a ladder with angels going up and down, and he says, wow, God was surely in this place and I didn't know. And she says, wow, Judaism has surely been here all along. It's been in this place, and somehow I didn't take it by the horns. I didn't appreciate it. And she mourns the fact that it took until her 30s before she got there, that her teens and her 20s were bereft of this great gift. Well, every single one of you takes this gift seriously, and you view it through the mature eyes of an adult. You look at it with the nuance that it so needs. And even if the world doesn't get better anytime soon, even if we went from COVID to firebombing to protests and anti-Israel sentiment and October 7th, and then whatever is next, I actually think you are the way out. And so help us get there by being exactly the people you've shown yourself to be. So we're going to give you a blessing. And so why don't you all come up, and you can stand in front of the bima, and I'm going to invite Cantor Greenberg and Ronnie Pressman up, and Rabbi Litwin. And I'm going to invite everybody to rise.
Go for me.
Come on over here.
Look at your very proud families gazing and lovingly at you. We lift up our, actually now we'll just bless. Just open your heart. Yivarechecha Adonai v'yishmerecha.
May God bless you and may God protect you.
Yair Adonai panav elecha v'yichuneka.
May God cause God's face to shine upon you and give you grace.
Yis Adonai panav elecha v'yasem lecha shalom.
May God always smile upon you, granting you a life of wholeness and peace.
King Yiratzon, may it be God's will, and let us all say,
Amen. Why don't we sing a little bit to you?
Right?
Yes. tov, mazel tov, mazel tov, siman tov, siman tov, mazel tov, mazel tov, siman tov, siman tov, mazel tov, mazel tov, siman tov, Yeilanu, 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 Ulecho Yisrael, Yeilanu, Yeilanu, Ulecho Yisrael, Yeilanu, Yeilanu, Ulecho Yisrael, Yeilanu, Yeilanu, Ulecho Yisrael.
You can do a big pile and group hug.
All right. So mazel tov, everyone. You can grab your books as you take a seat, and we're going to remain standing as we move to the conclusion of our service. Page 282, Elena. Go for it.
Aleinu l'shabeach ladon hakol, latet gedula leotzer breshid, shelo asanu kigoye haratzot, velo samanu kemishpachot adama, shelo sam chelkenu kahem, vegor aleinu kechol hamonam. ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא, ביום ההוא, יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו, ושמו, ושמו אחד.
We're seated together. Our thoughts now go to those who we've loved and who we've lost. As I call the name of your loved one, I'll invite you to rise, honoring their memory. This Shabbat, we recall the following individuals: Jack Amazon, Richard Becker, Lizbeth Brody, Greg Brudnicki, Miriam Cohen, Harry Kotler, Mary Dodd, Della Feather, Murray Friedman, Sam Friedman, Claire Baltuck Fromson, Leopold Gattel, Estelle Pearl Goldman, Larry Greenfield, Joseph Gross, Jacob Hirsch, Samuel Holland, Gertrude Ivner, Abraham Nathaniel Ivner, Celia Kamen, Louise Krulowitz, Anna Krulowitz, Fanny Latz, Ray Levy, Phyllis Maisel, Wolf Maybe, Fred Morit, Hattie Moskowitz, Frederick Pressman, Beverly Engelhart Rakoff, Annette Reitman, Benjamin Ring, Louis Roth, Sarah Schwartz, Gloria Spitz-Becker, Barbara Wojak, and Stephen Zinn. And those who are in their Shiva and Shloshim periods of mourning: Walter Rykowski, remembered by Diane Horowitz; Jessie Marcus, mother of Jane Marcus; Sue Moskowitz, sister-in-law of Seal Zeisel; and Joel Lustberg, father of Will Lustberg. In addition, I'll invite anyone to rise who is in their one-year period of mourning or who may be observing a yard site that may not have been on this list. We rise together. Page 294. Yitgadal v'yitgadash shemei Rabbah, v'yamad divrach yirateh v'yamlich malchuteh, v'chayechon u'v'yomechon u'v'chayei d'chol Beit Yisrael, ba'agala u'v'zman kariv v'imru amim. Yehei shmei Rabbah mevarach le'olam olmei almaya, yiparach v'yishtabach v'yipar v'yitnomam v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shebeit HaKudashah b'richu. Le'elam yinkol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechamata, Da'amiram bi'alma v'imru amen. Yehi shalama rabba min shemaya. V'chaim aleinu ve'kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav. Hu ya'aseh shalom. Aleinu ve'kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Please be seated. So a number of announcements, and then we're going to end. Tomorrow morning, services are at 10 a.m. We have both our lay-led casual minyan, but also our regular service, where we will welcome, no casual minyan. We already did it, never mind.
We're going to be very formal instead.
Yes. We have our regular service then, 10 a.m., as we invite Gabby up to become bat mitzvah. We also have a special blessing for Noah and Noah Westreich being one of the grooms, who you may know, Larry and Lisa, who grew up here, and we're going to be giving him a special blessing at services as well. A favor. We are short a few volunteers for our ShopRite food collection. You stand outside ShopRite, you basically give a little piece of paper that says, on your way out, bring a couple of canned goods. You collect them, and we collect hundreds of cans for the Human Needs Food Pantry. I'm not leaving until we get a couple hands up. What's the zone mark that we need for? So second shift is when? 11 to 1:30. Who can do 11 to 1:30? We got one hand, two hands. How many more you need? Sunday. 3 hands on Sunday.
Woo!
All right. Is that good? All right. So come raise your hand. You'll stay right there, and they'll find you after services. Perfect. In addition, we got a number of other, thank you very much. We have a number of other really interesting programs coming up. On Wednesday at noon, we have a retrospective with 3 college students, one who goes to Dartmouth, one who goes to Columbia, and one who goes to Rutgers, from our community, to talk about basically what have they seen on campus, and what have they learned, and it's going to be really interesting. We'll record it for anyone who will be in school during that time. Then the following weekend, B'nai Keshet, we are co-sponsoring this, is having a big Lag BaOmer gathering. Lag BaOmer is that period we've been counting. It's the 33rd day of that period, and they're going to have a band, and they're going to be raising money for Israel, and it's going to be a really important, wonderful event. On the 4th of June, New Israel Fund is coming to the area, and Noah Satah, who is like one of the big civil rights crusaders in Israel, is going to actually be speaking. We're co-sponsoring this also. It's at Shomrei Emunah, another of the congregations in the area. We've been doing a lot of partnering together over these past number of months. And we're co-sponsoring, and it's going to be a really important conversation about kind of what is going on in Israel, what does civil society look like in Israel, what are the things to be hopeful for, and what are the fights still need to have even among those in Israel itself. And then on the 5th, we're going to be continuing our speaker series. We're having most of the people, even if they haven't declared yet, who are going to be running for governor eventually. And so Raz
We have them
Baraka.
even before they've declared that.
Yes. So Raz Baraka, who's the mayor of Newark, is going to be coming. He's going to speak about the work he's been doing in Newark, but also his vision for New Jersey in general, his understanding of anti-Semitism and Israel as one of probably the major candidates for governor eventually. So with that, lots going on.
I mean, stick around.
Yes.
They are.
Yes. And that's not even talking about our Pride service, which
That's
is 3 days
which
later.
Is 2 days later.
Yeah.
Broadway comes to Shabbat, June 7th. Please come.
So why don't you
Lots
guys
of
come and
other-
help
Wait
us
a minute.
lead this final?
Yes, come on up and
Yeah.
be with us for this final. But Lanny? Yes?
Oh,
hello.
yes. Thank you, Lanny. Thank you.
Ay.
I was mentioning everything else I forgot to say about Tuesday. Come to our congregational meeting. It is every year we not only need to pass the budget and welcome those new members of the board, but also you're going to hear about what we've been doing and what we're going to continue to do around our capital campaign, plans for our building, plans for fundraising, and please join us, and thank you. I would have really been kicking myself if I forgot that piece.
Apropos of coming to the congregational meeting, we must build this world. we're going to do it with love. Right? Confirmation class? Here we go. Olam chesed yibane, yarara, 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 yarara. Olam chesed yibane, yarara, yarara, yarara.
Olam chesed yibane.
Olam chesed yibane,
Yarara, Olam chesed yibane.
And now we start with ourselves. I must build this world from love. And you must build, and
You must build this world from love.
And if we build,
And if we build this world from love,
then God will build with us. Then
God will build this world from love.
God will build this world from love. Once more we join together.
Olam chesed yibane. Olam chesed yibane.
Yishar kochechem. Mazel tov
So
to our
please
amazing
enjoy our
confirmands.
oneg outside. If you're staying for dinner, if you're one of the confirmation families that signed up, it's right in the social hall. But make sure to greet the rest of the congregation first before you head in. Shabbat shalom.